Gun control! Let's talk about it. I grew up in New York, and here we are just not used to having guns anywhere except police officers, security guards, people who are supposed to have guns because of the law. They carry them, and that's it. Nobody, no normal citizens have guns, and that's just the way it is. So since we don't see guns all the time, the only time we really do see them is in the movies and on TV, and the only reason they're ever used in the movies and in TV is to kill someone. So our entire perception of what guns are is just constantly going out, causing havoc, and killing people. That's how it seems in New York when we don't have anything else to base our views of guns on. We don't carry guns. We have this idea in our heads that a fair fight is a fist fight between two people. If you need to beat someone up, you punch them in the face, you knock them out. And basically you're cheating if you use a gun. Now in Alabama, it's different. I went to Alabama 6 months ago, and I learned that I was the only person there who'd never shot a gun, pretty much in the entire state. So it's not even only guys in Alabama who shoot guns. People, girls and guys, grow up knowing how to use guns. They grow up around guns. Dads take their daughters and sons hunting. So I was the only one of anyone I've met in Alabama from Alabama who hasn't shot a gun. And I was scared to be around guns when I first saw them. One of my best friends in Alabama had guns. And at first I couldn't be in the same room with them because I just had this idea in my head that guns just kill people. And I didn't know. Maybe they go off randomly. Maybe if you drop one, it shoots. I had no idea because I've never had access to them. So it took a couple months for me to feel safe in a room with an unloaded gun. And that's kind of ridiculous. I got to the point eventually where I learned how to shoot. I learned what a magazine is. Apparently it's not just something with celebrities and their inside scoops. After that amount of conditioning, 6 months of being around guns, I'm perfectly fine in a room with guns. And in fact, I feel safer now in a room with guns than in a room without guns. So I spent maybe 22 years of my life never being around guns, so they seemed scary to me. 6 months, I got over that fear, and now I feel a lot safer with a gun in the room. So as a girl, my worst nightmare, and I imagine a lot of girls, this would be the same way, is being attacked and not being able to defend myself. That would be the scariest thing in the world for me, and that would be absolutely terrible. I'm trained in self-defense. In high school, I took classes for years. But I still would have no chance against someone with a gun. I can't punch a gun and win against a gun. It's not going to happen. It doesn't make any sense. So it would be extremely helpful and make me feel a lot better if I was allowed to carry a concealed gun with me at all times. And I would do that and I would feel safe because as long as I was educated in how to use it, which that's a valid requirement to have people who buy guns know how to use them, I feel safe with that. As long as I know how to use it, then it wouldn't go off randomly in my pocket, and I wouldn't shoot random people because I'm not a criminal, not a bad person, and I would only use it for self-defense. The only times I would ever use a gun to shoot somebody are the same times I would use my fists or a knife. I keep a knife by my bed at night, just in case. They would work better than my fingernails, I assume, or my teeth. I would only use it in self-defense if someone was extremely dangerous, if someone was hurting me or my family or my friends, then I would shoot them and kill them. But I would never go around and shoot random people. Guns, just like knives and pepper spray, are for self-defense. Now, if in gun control what you're trying to do is prevent criminals from getting their hands on guns, let's look at it this way. If you were a criminal, you are a criminal because you disobey the law. So creating a law is not going to stop the criminal from getting a gun. He disobeys the law, so he's still going to get it illegally. Imagine that, a criminal breaking the law. So what gun control would essentially do is make it difficult for citizens who would like to defend themselves, like me, from getting a gun, while not affecting how criminals can do it, because regardless of what the law is, they don't obey the law, so it doesn't matter to them. So all gun control laws are doing are affecting how people who actually would use guns for good reasons, it's making it more difficult for them. If they're going to be dangerous, they already have access to dangerous things. They already have knives, and they can make homemade explosives. They can just beat people up. And what you're doing with gun control is taking away a self-defense weapon to protect yourself against these things. So when I was in Alabama, my friend took me to a gun store, and that was my first time in a gun store. And I was a little nervous because I've never been around that many guns at one time. It was just kind of scary. But there was nothing to be scared of. I went there a few times afterwards too, and I got used to it, and it doesn't scare me anymore. But what he told me to calm me down was nobody would ever rob a gun store or try to shoot somebody in a gun store. Because imagine that a criminal walks into a gun store and pulls out a gun. There would be 10 people immediately pulling out their guns, aiming their gun at that guy until he put his gun down. So a crime would be much easier to stop in a gun store because people have guns. So I just felt I should share that because I've had both points of view. I've had the point of view where I think gun control should be stricter because guns scared me and I didn't think they could be all that useful. And I was like that my entire life. And then only a couple months in Alabama, I keep saying 6 months, but it actually took a lot less than that for me to change my mind about guns. And now I think they're awesome, and I want to buy a gun, so I will be working on saving up for one. And then I'll be able to defend myself, which hopefully I'll never need to, but it's always good.